am your host, Sugar Cyanide. Welcome. There's a Rocky in the background. There's a tripod. You have better viewage.
Yes.
And he is going to be kicking up cat vom because the cat literally just vommed. Welcome to live streaming.
Welcome to live streaming. So if you hear me in the background going, I love our kids, this is why.
So, bear with us briefly while Rocky takes care of the cat vom. Literally, as I pressed go live, the cat started vomiting. Lovely. So, how are you guys doing today? Welcome to Tea and Tarot Tuesday. I'm wearing my kitty ears, and I fluffed up my hair. I'm trying to look like my little Pick Crew anime thing. Whatever, I don't know. So, welcome. I am drinking my chai tea concoction.
By the end of this, I'll be drinking.
Right, by the end of this, Rocky will be drinking. Special guest, Rocky Andriotti, in our Tea and Tarot Tuesday. So I'm drinking my chai tea. Woo, it's got a tip. It's full. So this is 2 bags of Celestial Seasonings black vanilla chai tea with sugar-free French vanilla creamer and cardamom, ginger, and cinnamon added to the tea. Thank you guys. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Loki. Thank you for tuning in. So, as always, please, if you enjoy this footage, please share it or do a watch party. Let people know that this is going on so that we can spread the word. So the way that this works is we're drinking tea, and I'm going to do a couple of just general live readings for the next week or so. Then we'll chit-chat about tarot. And then if someone decides to tip me, however much they decide to tip me, it's open tipping, I will do a reading for them right here in the live video. If you would like a private reading with me, you can schedule an appointment Wednesday through Saturday from 2 to 7.
It's like it was never there.
You can schedule an appointment with me Wednesday through Saturday for 2 to 7. It is $25 for a personal live reading. So, I'm going to take a sip of my chai tea. It's absolutely delicious. It's like a hug. It's my favorite. It does have a little bit of caffeine because it's got the black vanilla chai in there, but it's full of antioxidants and all kinds of goodies, and yeah. So one of these days I might actually post my chai tea recipe because I'm a huge chai fan.
I made it for her.
There, you bend down a little bit lower.
You know, if I had a nickel.
There he is. Say hi to Rocky, everybody.
Hi, Rocky. Oh, you missed it.
Alrighty. So, I'm going to get started with the Bad Bitches Oracle, otherwise known as Dark Goddess Oracle. So, I really like this Oracle deck. It's very, it calls you out. It calls you out quite a bit. So I'm going to get started with this. I'm going to pull an Oracle reading from this deck. This is the Dark Goddess Oracle. Oracles are different than tarot. Each Oracle system is unique into of itself. The most of the tarot cards are based off of the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. The way that you tip is either through my PayPal, which is thesugarcyanide@gmail.com, or you can tip through Facebook Messenger. So, I do have Venmo and Cash App, but those are a pain in the butt. So that's why I prefer to do that. So this is, for those that are new, this is the Dark Goddess Oracle. I picked this up at the International Left Hand Path Consortium, in Weymouth, Dorset, UK. And this is published only in Britain, as far as I know. It is a British publishing company. I do not believe it is available on this side of the pond. Neener, 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 beans and wieners. Now I kind of want beanie weenies. But I found like a homemade sushi recipe for like using canned tuna to make your own sushi rolls, and I think that's what I'm gonna make for dinner tonight after this, because Rocky's been craving sushi and it's kind of a way to get that fix. Maybe we'll have to see. I'll try it out, and if it's any good I will let you guys know. So right now I'm just shuffling these cards. So these are all goddesses. They're called dark goddesses, but they're all goddesses, and a lot of these I'm not familiar with, which is one of the things I really like about this deck, is that by using it I get to learn about new things, and that's always great for me, because I've been practicing the old witchcraft for about 20 years. No longer, because I started in high school. And so I very rarely come across something that is new to me. So, la 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 la. So here's that. I'm just going to pull this guy. Okay, this guy is a girl named Sedena. I know everything's mirrored. I'm sorry. I'm using my cell phone. So it's Sedena and it's abandonment. The art has a little bit to be desired. We've discussed this every time I use this deck. So let's see what this has to tell us. I'm gonna grab the old book. These are alphabetical. This is a new one for me too. I've been playing with this deck since I bought it, and I have not pulled this card before. So, oh, that's awesome, Zaku. Yes, it's a lifetime practice and journey. The more you learn, the more you know, the more you realize how little you know, and it can be it's very wonderful, and also an asshole thing to study. And if anybody tells you different, then they haven't been practicing for very long. So, okay. Sedena, and her word or her message is abandonment, which is, okay. Oof. See, I told you, this deck, man, this deck is mean. It gets right to that quick. Okay. There's a little poem. It says, frozen, plunged into despair, abandoned, left without a care. Release yourself from holding tight. Dive deep within, rescues in sight. By the power of the dark goddess in me, protection in place, blessed be. Okay, so the guidance section in the little book, it says, often you feel left out in the cold, and being cast out has left you feeling unsupported and abandoned. You feel rejection, betrayal, and fear as the Inuit goddess Sedena once did, and tend to be clingy and needy, hoping desperately not to be rejected. You are in danger of letting your emotions ruin the good things in your life. The more you crave attention for security, the more you will drive others away. However, Sedena evolved through the process of sacrifice and suffering and has risen through the freezing waters to remind you that it's how you learn and grow from your experiences that matter. You are called to move through the emotional depths of resistance to navigate into the sea of deeper awareness and honor your sensitivity. Allow Sedena's natural connection with the sea to facilitate your emotional clarity and help you understand on a deeper level the actions that have caused unrest in your life. So from what I'm getting from this, that Sedena, and that's S-E-D-N-A, because I know everything's like mirrored, so it's hard for you guys to read. She is an Inuit goddess from like the Eskimo, Inuit, Northern Aboriginal tribes. This is what I'm getting from the book. And she's a sea goddess. So that's frozen waters, right? Frozen waters. Oh my gosh. Loki, butthead. Okay, so you'll get a reading at the end of this, so stay on. If you tip me, stay on to the end of the live thing so that I can give you your reading, okay? Or you can always go back and watch it later if you're not able to. Okay, so that was her guidance message. And then she says, you're holding on way too tight. Let go of those who hurt you. Time to build up trust in yourself and others. The love you seek starts from within. It's time to become thick-skinned. Your fears are rooted in the past. A new spiritual family awaits. And I think this is really important for times right now because we're all stuck at home. We're all stuck with our family. And it's really forcing people to face things that they might not have been willing to face before because they've been able to find outside distractions. They've been willing to focus on other things. And this is saying that if you really need to focus on, especially now where all the distractions are being taken away from you, that if you have that fear of abandonment, which I think we all do to some extent, that the way to overcome that is to be so right with yourself. Yes, right, Justin, yeah. To be so right with yourself that even if people come and go through your life, they aren't taking your value with you. And that's a huge, huge lesson to learn. I know that, like, I've got some abandonment issues. This deck comes for me, just so y'all know, like every reading I do, it's like airing out my dirty laundry. So it really, really does come for me. But I think we should take that message of, in this time where our lives are being forced to be simplified, where we're forced to not have as many distractions, where we're forced to really take value of everything that we have within our sphere of influence, to really go deep within and reflect within ourselves, and to really take stock in not only ourselves and our own personal strengths, but those that are around us. Because everybody has, to some extent, a fear of abandonment. And what Sedena is saying is that if you really, really find strength within yourself, yeah, it'll suck when people come and go, but it won't break you because you aren't giving them the power to break you. You are finding that power within yourself. And I think that's a really, really important message. And that's why, even though this is tea and tarot, and these aren't tarot, these are oracle, I really like bringing out these decks because, the Bad Bitches Oracle, I know it's called Dark Goddess, but it's always going to be called the Bad Bitches Oracle by me. Really, really comes for me and really, really pull some shit out that I need to be working on. And I think that's definitely one of the things we should be doing right now, is taking advantage of really focusing on how we can better ourselves and improve ourselves. And actually, I have a topic a little bit on that a little bit later on. So I'm going to grab my Zombie Tarot deck because the last Tea and Tuesday we did the Vampire deck. And so I'm going to switch back to the Zombie deck this week. When I'm doing readings for either clients or whatever, I do use my classic Rider-Waite. But I think it's fun to pull out the Zombie deck for these live readings. Right, Mike? Like, whew! This Oracle deck comes for you, man. Like, she got a knife and she stabs in the feels. Okay. So, I'm going to see if I can find a way if this can be ordered from the UK, and I'm gonna see if I can do that for you guys. So I'll make that on my list of things to do to see if this is something that like maybe you can order through a UK website or something. I'll look into that. So because that deck is, I've never seen anything like that deck, and I used to be snobby about Oracle cards because I used to be like, Oracle cards are for people who don't want to learn tarot, and I used to be really on a personal level snobby about it, and I've realized that in my opinion, they're not really good for doing readings about the future or trying to get information, but they are really good for journaling and personal work and things of that nature, and seeing where you need to improve yourself. So, oh, Mike, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry to hear that. If there's anything that anybody can do, please let us know. But I'm glad you're here watching this video, and I hope it brings you some comfort. I really do. I can say that times like this really bring out the truth in people, and sometimes it's better that it happens now instead of later. It's a cold comfort, but take it for what you can. Okay, so I just dropped those zombie cards, so let me grab them. Okay, zombie cards. So this is the Zombie Tarot. This was given to me by a client many years ago. These are available in the US. This is a theme deck. Typically, theme decks are difficult to read with because they try so hard to stick to the theme that they kind of go away from the actual meanings of the cards. This deck does a really good job of both, and I really enjoy this deck. I'm using this deck because we're joking that it's the zombie apocalypse, and I don't get to use this deck very often, so I'm gonna break it out and use it. So this is like a 1950s post-apocalyptic zombie deck. So it's like pin-up zombies. It looks like this, and like the zombie oracle dude on here. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm just shuffling these. I'm going to actually shuffle these like a deck of cards. I don't treat my cards like some readers treat their cards like they're holy objects. My decks are working. They are working class decks. They are here to do a job. If they are too prissy, it gets in the way of the work. But to each their own for everybody. So, you know, some people need to have a prissy deck. Prissy decks get given away from me. So, I won't work with a prissy deck. Each deck has its own personality, just so you guys know. It will flavor the reading, which is why I like doing client readings with the Rider-Waite, because, oh, thank you, Glenda. I'm glad. Yeah, if a goddess has been following you for years, you kind of need to listen. They don't like to take no for an answer, but do realize that if you catch a deity's attention, there's usually a message or some kind of work to do. I like to use the story of Hercules as a good example, or if you're familiar with American Gods by Neil Gaiman, Shadow Moon's story. When you start, you know, you see a lot of people that want to get into craft work and things of that nature, and they want a patron deity, and what they don't realize is that comes with a lot of sacrifices. So, but if a deity is coming for you and really wants your attention, you should listen and at least have a conversation or two. I'll show you in just a second, Jubal. So, unless I pull it for the reading. So right now I'm just shuffling. I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna do this way. Card number one. Card number one is the Tower. So that is what the Tower looks like. Ooh, we're getting real with this, man. We're getting called out tonight. Well, Justin, you know more about that than anybody else. I don't know what to tell you on that. No, if you need me to talk to her, I will, but okay. So, card number two, the Hierophant. Ooh, we're going with the trumps today, man. Not the orange orangutan, trump cards. 7 of Wands. Okay, and then the last card is, trying not to look while I'm doing this so I can. Let's go with that one. Strength. Okay. So, and then Jubal, I will, after I do the reading, I'll pull the lovers from the deck and show you. Okay. If I forget, remind me. Okay, so the way that I do readings is I do 3 cards with the 4th card above as the signifier. This is a basic general reading. Sometimes it can be past, present, future, not always. It's giving me, sometimes it gives me the foundation information and then where we're going from there. This is a very basic style of reading, but it does give a lot of information. Okay, so the strength is the overarching theme, and I think that's pretty accurate. I love the design because I think this design works really well with the meaning of strength, and I'll go into that when I talk more about this card. So the first card I pulled was the Tower. So I'm going to get real close so you guys can kind of see. It's a little blurry. So what's happening is these are people that are throwing a party on their penthouse suite of this giant tower, and they're wealthy, protected individuals, and they think that they're safe because they're at the very top of this high-rise penthouse tower, and they're throwing a party, living in excess, and the zombies come and crash the party. So this is a really good version of what Tower means, on top of really doing a good job of sticking to the theme, the zombie theme of the deck, which is one of the reasons why I love this deck so much. So Tower basically means there's something that's going to happen. There's a lot of changes going on. These changes aren't always done willingly. Sometimes they happen to you. And it's a lot of like, hold on for your tuchus, you're going for a ride, and you better pray that you get your seatbelt on. That is what the Tower is. So I think they did a really good job with the art describing the Tower. And like I said, you can find this deck online, so if you want to like Google search the images, you can get up close, better pictures of the images. But I think this is just a really good signifier of what's going on right now and on the world as a whole. We are in a tower time, as Justin was saying earlier, and that there's a whole lot of sweeping change, whether we like it or not, and we have to make adjustments, and things are happening all around us. And we have to take stock in what we have and figure out what's important and what's not, and sometimes the only way is through. I'll get into that a little bit later as well. Okay, so the next card is the Hierophant. So this is, I think this is perfect too. This is a newscaster on TV doing the news. If this deck isn't so perfect for our life and situation right now, I don't know what is. This deck is just, mwah, like it's just, it's just perfect. So, the Hierophant originally was the Pope in like the old original Messiah style tarot from like the 1700s. The Hierophant is basically a kind of like a false leader. It's a leader with an agenda, which is why I think that the newscaster on this is so perfect. Because again, in the situation that we're in, we can't trust the news. We can't trust our government body. Like, we have to take everything with a grain of salt and try to make the best decisions that we can for ourselves every single day. And this card is just so perfect. It's so perfect for the times that we're in right now, but it's also a perfect example of the Hierophant, where you have the news broadcaster giving the news and being like, everything's gonna be okay, it's not the end of the world, or it is the end of the world and everything actually really is fine, and just that knowing that there's an agenda there and that they're no longer interested in giving you new events, weather, and sports, which is what actually news stands for. They're more interested in ratings, keeping your attention, and selling you advertising. So, right, Jubal. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And this is just perfect for the Hierophant. So if you ever get a Hierophant in the reading, thinking of a newscaster, dirty deeds at 6:10. Yeah, if it leads and bleeds, all of that. Okay, so the next one we have up is the Seven of Wands. In this deck, we have this gentleman. He's a businessman, and he's fighting off a zombie with a femur. And actually, no, he's a zombie. He's a zombie fighting another zombie with a femur. Okay. So, typically, the Seven of Wands looks... Let me pull out my... Is this it? Hey, look, it was right on top. Typically, the Seven of Wands looks like this in the Rider-Waite deck. Okay? So, Seven of Wands. Nope, this is the Seven of Swords. Hold on a second. I got so excited I thought I had the right thing. Doo-doo-doo. Mistakes happen. That's the 4. That's the 2. La 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 la. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I can't have music because of copyright, so this is me making background noise. La da 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 da. Where is my Seven of Wands? Here we go. Seven of Wands. Okay. So here's the Seven of Wands in this deck. This makes actually much more sense when you compare the two together. Here's the Seven of Wands in the Rider-Waite. This is the original concept art. This is the theme art. Okay. So when you're reading with a concept art deck, it's good to know what the original meanings are, what the original images mean. So in this, the guy is fighting off these people down here. He's on top of a hill. And he's in a good position. He's in a better position than they are. But they're still coming for him, and he's fighting them off. So he's in a decent position. He's got clothes and stuff on, and he's got a weapon, and he's fighting off this zombie. Okay? So this is why I really like looking at theme decks, because they also give you kind of new interpretations for reading and things of that nature. And I think it really helps expand your knowledge when it comes to reading, because when you get something like this come up in a theme deck, it gives you a different perspective, which can be really nice. Tarot is something that is a never-ending journey. You will always be learning more as you go on. Okay. So what this is basically saying is everybody is in a much better position now than they were previously. We are better now than we were when this initially happened, but that doesn't mean it's over. There's still some more work to do. We're definitely in a better position. We're definitely in we've reached high ground. We've got a weapon. We've got weapons that we can use. We've got tools at our service and things of that nature. But it's not over yet. There's still a lot of work to do. And I think this is important because people are getting frustrated. People are getting tired. They're getting exhausted. You know, they want this to be over already, and they might rush things. And this is saying that while you might be tired, while you might have fought a long battle, and while you're in a better position than you were previously, so you've made advancements, it's not over yet. There's still a lot of work to do. Right, yes. Right, Jubal and Zaku, yes, you're totally right. Okay, so the overarching theme is strength. So the traditional strength card is the lady hugging the lion. And this looks very different than that. Let me see if I can find that one really quickly. Lady hugging a lion. It's one of my favorite cards. 'Cause it's a lady hugging a lion. Yeah. I need background music. This is what happens when you do stuff live. No editing. Lady hugging a lion. Woo! Lady hugging a lion. Guy with a bullet. How do these mean the same thing? Because this is about inner strength. So the strength card is not about pushing dumbbells and running marathons. It's not about the physical strength. The strength card is about inner strength. And so the way that it was depicted in medieval times, because this is based off of a feudal system, was this lady hugging a lion, having a beast that would kill you on sight, and having the strength. Right, Jubal. She's holding the mouths open. Yeah, and some of them she's holding it open, and some of them, you know, she's like hugging it or whatever. But she's holding the mouths open. But is she physically like jarring it open, or is she like scratching it in that good spot behind the ear, and the lion's just like, oh yeah, right? And I like to think of it that way, because, you know, cat lady, meow. But I like to think of it that way because this card is about inner strength. This card is about the strength that what gets us through, the strength that gets us through the end of the day, the strength that emotional and a mental endurance. This is about the strength of character, the strength of personality. This is not about muscles and marathons. This is about your wits and your strength of personality. And so how does that fit into the bullet? I can tell you how, if you're a big fan of zombies. When the character gets infected and eats a bullet to save his friends and family. So, having the mental strength to make the sacrifice of taking yourself out so that, the will to continue no matter the challenge, exactly. One of my favorite things I like to say, which I learned from my boss, Betty, who has 2 books out, is that every challenge is an opportunity. It's just looking for the way to learn in that situation. And I think that's what this is about. This is about, which we talked a little bit about this the previous Tarot Tuesday, about how the times that we're in, we need to look at it as an opportunity to improve our lives, improve ourselves. Yes, there is going to be shitty aspects. Yes, there's going to be stuff that we don't like. Yes, money's going to be tight. All of these things. Yes, there's going to be negative things. And I'm not trying to preach like false positivity, but I am saying that acknowledge those negative things and then try to let them go. Try to not let them influence you, and try to find the good in the situation that you're in. Try to think outside of the box. How can you make your situation better with the rules that you're in? So it's kind of that mindset of like an escape room. We're all living in a full 24/7 escape room, right? And we need to think about how to get provisions and entertain ourselves and our emotional and physical well-being. And so we can't do things the way that we used to do them, which means we got to come up with new ways to do them. So we have to find our better way to function. And hopefully you'll take this time to continue on through the challenges no matter what. You'll find that strength to do this so that when things go back to the new normal, that you will take those positive changes that you've made during this time and make them permanent changes. That this will carry forward into the future for you so that you can continue to live a better life. I've noticed that those of us that are more indie artists, those of us that have been living on the fringes for the most of our adult lives, are handling this whole situation better than those people who really conformed to societal's expectations. And I'm seeing that those of us who really kind of just listen to the beat of our own drum, now that those expectations aren't there, those that kept following them don't know what to do with themselves. And so if you were one of those people, which there's nothing wrong with that, you know, if you got married and had kids and worked a 9-to-5 and now you're finding yourself in a situation where you don't have your 9-to-5 anymore and, you know, your family's breaking up because the things that held you together weren't actually healthy things, now is the time to get to the root of all of those problems and make the permanent changes and your life so that we can move forward into a better space and a better time. So the old pagan way of thought, and Justin, right. So the old pagan way of thought was there were two halves of the year, and this is more of like an Indo-European concept, which we see in the 8 holidays that got butchered by Gerald Gardner. But the old Indo-European trail of thought is there were 2 times of the year. There was the dark time of the year and the light half of the year. And the dark time of the year is really similar to what we are going through now, okay, as a society, because our pre-medieval tribal ancestors didn't have electricity. They didn't have heating. So they had to live from October through March in the dark. And it was really too cold for them to go outside. They couldn't really socialize. They had very limited food and resources and all of that. And if they didn't prepare correctly, or if the crops were bad or something like that, they were really left to like their survival devices until spring came. So if you take that concept of our ancestors that really had to go into the dark time of the year where they didn't really go outside, that they really stayed inside, and they really took that time to harness other skills. And because we have electricity, because we have heating and gas and all of that stuff, we no longer take that time. We no longer pull away from society as a whole to really check in with ourselves. And I think this is kind of like the universe's way of forcing that to happen. So take the lesson, learn from it, because, you know, you're going to go through it one way or another. You're going to go through this situation whether you like it or not. So you may as well try to make the best of it. So yeah, shit's going to happen. Shit's going to be real. A lot of stuff is going to come forward. A lot of stuff that's been hidden. There's going to be a lot of people dealing with mental health issues, physical health issues, because they don't want to go to the doctor for basic health stuff. Like with my ankle, like I can pretty much walk normally now, but I still have a lot of like pain and tension in my ankle from me really badly spraining it. I never went to the doctor because I didn't want to deal with possibly getting sick because I have a sprained ankle. So I could have possibly permanent damage to that ankle because I never bothered to get it x-rayed. That was a risk that I was willing to take. I think it's fine. And I mean, like, this is like week 4 and I can pretty much walk normally at this point. I just have to stretch kind of an extra normal bit than I ever used to. And that's fine. Like, I'm still nursing it back, but that's, you know, that's the sacrifice that I made, is that, you know, so there's going to be negative things. And I don't want to preach false positivity because that's helpful to no one. But at the same token, if you can get to a place where you stop dwelling so much on the negative and really move to a more positive headspace, then you can take advantage of the situation you're in and make the best out of it. And, you know, give yourself time to grieve, give yourself time to heal. Don't be so hard on yourself because you're going to really need that, you're gonna need that time. Don't be hard on yourself. I kept telling Rocky, I was like, I'm not as productive as I want to be. Like, there's stuff I want to get done. I have this massive to-do list. I want to do all this stuff. And that I feel like I'm trudging through mud every single day. And he's like, babe, you're exhausted. Like, you came back from your crazy trip. in pain with a badly screwed up ankle, and like you haven't really given yourself time to heal. And like I still have to have him tell me that at least once a day. Like, let's be real, okay? So I'm a little bit preaching to the choir here. So, okay, I'm looking for the Lovers card in this deck for Jubal, that Chariot, Moon. Wheel of Fortune, Justice. There are 78 cards. Ooh, the Priestess is really cool. I don't know. I think that's badass. Okay. Lovers. Lovers. There they are. The Lovers. This is a great version of the Lovers card too, because Lovers is about passion. It's not about love. Lovers is about passion, and sometimes it can be an unhealthy passion. And I think this is a great example of that, because one of them is a regular human and one of them is a zombie. And this is about the ignoring the red flags and really losing yourself in the passion, and most likely probably getting hurt. So this is a really good example of that. So, because, she's going to eat his face off. Praying mantis. Yeah. So, so there's the Lovers for you. Okay, so I'm going to put this deck away. I really, really like this deck. I don't get to use it very much, so I'm glad that I'm pulling it out for these Tarot Tuesdays. And I'm kind of planning on keeping on doing this, like, just keep it going, even afterwards. We'll have to see. Go in the hole. Do the thing. Go in your hole. Okay. Alrighty. And I've got one more thing I want to talk about, and then I'm going to start on the readings. Yes, necrophilia. Okay. So, where can I stick this? Drink some tea. Anybody else drinking tea? I love chai tea. It's so good. Okay, so the other day, how many of you guys here do readings? So, or just read for yourself or in general? Because I had something interesting come up that I wanted to talk about, and I love sharing new learning moments. So I was doing a client reading, and the reading was full of wands. Yay, green tea! I love green tea. I got really into green tea when I was in Japan. Yeah, I've always been a tea drinker, and then traveling has made me much more of a tea drinker. So I drink lots and lots of coffee in the morning, and then I switched to tea throughout the day. So I was doing a client reading, and I'm not going to go into detail about the reading because that would be unprofessional, but I had a learning moment, and I wanted to share my learning moment with you guys, and see if anybody else has ever come across with this interpretation in a reading before. So, Mike, I've taken several breaks from readings, so I completely understand. Yes, Zaku, I do. I like herbal remedies as well. So, I definitely have my mixtures. Justin has had some of my herbal green tea health mixtures that are kind of like hold your nose and swallow, but they make you feel better. So in this client reading, wands came up, and like the wands kept coming up, in the reading repeatedly throughout the reading. And wands typically mean work. They can mean like your day job work. So like if their reading is about whether or not someone's getting a raise, or if they're looking for a new job, or they can mean like your life's journey work, like the reason why you're put here on this earth. And so typically they mean one thing or the other when it comes up in a reading. What I had come up in this reading is that this meant self-work. That this meant doing your spiritual homework, going to therapy, self-care, things of that nature. And that was really new for me when that came up. And I wanted to share that with you because when the wands came up as like self-care work, you know, it was clearly evident in the reading that that's what it meant. But I've never had that really come up in a reading before. And I wonder how many times when I like first started reading and wands would come up and maybe I'd be confused about the meaning, and that's what it was talking about. So I wanted to share that information for the other people that are either learning to read or other readers. Have you had the wands come up and mean that in a reading before? Have you had it come up as like self-care work, like going to therapy, taking care of yourself, really working your personal spiritual journey? And I'd like to hear about those experiences. So, because this is how we learn, you know. Even though I've been reading started reading in 2002. Actually started reading tarot before I was a performer. So I've been reading for a really, really long time. And I've been practicing the craft. And I say practicing the craft and not witchcraft. I purposely choose that verbalization because my craft practice is separate from my spiritual practice. And I can go into that probably another time. Oh, good. I'm glad. Yeah. So, yeah, the Lovers gets really, not what you'd expect. Yeah, so Cups to me is like, yeah, you're totally right, Jubal. Cups is like goals, things that are important to you. But like with this kind of work, it's like it's not your goal. Like, I mean, it could be your goal, but it's like doing your shadow work. That's how the wands came up, as like doing your shadow work. And that like, if you decided to take this path, you would have to do all of this shadow work and face all of this fears and all of this stuff that you've been kind of running from for a little while, to take that path. And do you have the strength to do that? That's how it came up in the reading. So yeah, it was definitely wand energy and not cup energy, like on an intuitive level, which, right. But I just wanted to share that with you guys because, you know, every time I do a reading, I learn something new. And so, yeah. Oh yeah. So I was saying I started doing craft work. I was like 12. So, you know, 2005. No, I'm kidding. It was in the late 90s. Mid to late 90s. I'm a vampire. Okay, so I just wanted to share that experience with you guys. Okay, I'm going to go into doing the readings now for people that have tipped. You can tip me via PayPal through thesugarcyanide@gmail.com. I've got 2 people that have tipped so far. Or you can tip me through Facebook Pay, and it'll be through Instant Messenger if you do that way as well. Okay, so I'm going to go into the reading. for Justin. And if you want a private reading, if you want a more in-depth private reading, you can always book an appointment with me. I do private readings Wednesday through Saturday from 2 to 7. And they're video readings. It'll look much like this, except for instead of a bunch of people watching, it'll just be me and you. Alrighty. You know it's about to get real when you hear that heavy shuffling. This is why I also like these cards, because they're small. I can shuffle them for real and not do that like girly tarot shuffle where you just kind of like, I'm gonna move the cards around a little bit and get a shuffle. No. I can do like a poker shuffle and get a good mix up on these cards. And yes, Saku, shadow work is extremely exhausting. And just so you know, because you're 2 years into your craft journey, a lot of people who start the journey, if you aren't really doing the shadow work stuff, you're not going to get very far. That's like the key component to doing this kind of work, is you really have to do a lot of navel gazing and self-questioning. And if you don't, and you make a dedication to a deity, and you don't do all that shadow work, guess what? You become Shadow Moon. You become Hercules. And you get forced to do all of that, whether you like it or not. So I always really warn people not to make a deity contracts, because it's a contract. You're making a contract. Don't sign a contract without a lawyer. A lot of people don't know that. That's what it is. You're not selling your soul, but you kind of are. So, okay. I think it's funny that we're talking about this while I'm shuffling cards for Justin. I know stuff about him. All right, Justin, did you want a general reading or did you have a specific question? I know you love me. Answer my damn question. Okay, he's getting a general reading. It's taking too long to answer me. All right. I think these are shuffled enough. All right, first card. Pow! The Emperor. Good. We are on the same page. Yay! Second card is pow! Page of Swords. Third card is pow! Nine of Cups. 9? Yeah, 9. Those Roman numerals, man, they mess with my dyslexia. That is the 9, though. Especially when it's mirrored in the camera. All right, and final card. Wow, almost did 78 card pickup. Is that one? Knight of Swords. Okay. Woof. Getting warm in here. Gotta drink some more tea. Talking shit, gotta sip some tea. Okay. The Emperor. So the Emperor is the big bad daddy. This is daddy. This is your daddy. You as a daddy. This is daddy. Hi, daddy. This is basically the all-male fatherhood archetype. This can also represent Odin, especially with you, knowing you. And this is, yeah, we're gonna go with that for right now. I've got some more stuff coming, but we'll go from there. Page of Swords. The Page of Swords. So pages are a little bit naive. They are apprentices. They're still learning. And I like to think of modern society to compare a page is like a freshman in high school, a freshman in college, or someone who's just starting a new job in a new field where they don't know anyone. So that they're in this situation where they're really, really outside of their element. That is the page. That's the page across the board, all 4 pages. Okay? The Page of Swords. Swords are... the suit of swords is about power. It is about knowledge, that of the mindscape. And there's a lot of learning going on, but you're a little bit naive about said learning. Don't be signing no freaking contracts. There's fine print that you need to read, and the page doesn't like to read the fine print and gets their ass in trouble. So, yes, so that is the page. So I also, if you like to read Game of Thrones, the Page of Swords is Arya Stark when she is like season 2. Or no, like season 3, when she's following the Hound around to the countryside. That is the Page of Swords. So she wants to be a big, bad, mean knight killer person, but she isn't quite there yet. All right. 9 of Cups. So the 9 of Cups is all about happiness, contentment, feeling of satisfaction. And the nines are my favorite cards because 10 is a completion. 9 means things are great, and guess what? They're gonna get better. Versus 10s are like, things are great, and guess what? End of a cycle, you gotta start over. So 9s are fabulous because there's still room to grow. There's lots of good is happening and more is coming. So you always want those 9s. You always want those 9s. Okay, so, and in the overarching theme, we have the Knight of Swords. So you know how we were talking about the Page of Swords is Arya Stark when she's following the Hound around? Guess who the Hound is? So, yes. So this is, knights represent movement, specifically from point A to point B. When you see, the sword or the horse and how it's moving, the Knight of Swords moves the swiftest. So all 4 knights represent movement from point A to point B. Hold on. Someone just chatted me. Okay. So all 4 knights represent moving from point A to point B, but the Knight of Swords is talking about the fastest movement, the fastest you can go versus, and then it goes from swords to wands to cups to Pentacles, which Pentacles is like hardly moving. And if you look at the Rider-Waite cards, the horses tell you how swiftly that movement is. So this is the overarching theme. From Justin's responses, this is really hitting the nail on the head. So I can tell you right now, and I'm going into all of this, we've got really quick, fast movement with that Hound, that Game of Thrones Hound energy, which is actually protective and noble, but kind of gruff and surly on the outside. So that's this overarching energy. Then we got Big Bad Daddy with this naive little punk, but actually happiness overall. And so what this is telling me is when I put these four together, so that would be like that, if it was laid out on like a table for you all to see. When I get a big budget, I'll like, you know, get a second camera and be able to like have multiple camera views and shit. But I'm doing this from my cell phone. So I got a tripod this week. I've already upgraded. So this is how it would be laid out if we were laying it out in a spread. This is the overarching theme. And I'm pretty sure this is hitting the nail on the head for Justin. So I'm not going to go much more deeper into this because the message is being received where it is supposed to. All right. So I believe it was Glinda also tipped me for a reading. Yes. So I'm going to, I need to reshuffle, so you'll have to bear with me a minute while I shuffle. And like I said, I like to do a poker shuffle on the cards that I'm reading with because it shakes up the energy. Ooh, we have a jumper. Jumper. This is a wild card. And your wild card is the Hanged Man. Glenda, are you still on? Because we got some knowledge coming your way. All right. I'm going to shuffle. Yay, you are still here. Okay, my energy is totally own. Where should I put most of my energy and what part of my life? Okay. Well, the Hangman got some stuff to tell you. That's for sure. Most of my energy. Okay. La da 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 da. Gotta shuffle the cards, gotta shuffle the cards. Didn't know I can't sing, can ya? Yeah, no, I sound like a dead cat, like, meow, meow. So Justin and I had a radio show at one point, and whenever I couldn't think of what to say on the radio show, I would start to meow, and then it became a thing, and now we totally meow. Everybody I know meows constantly. So if you ever go back and find that old radio show, there are moments where I'm literally just meowing for like a half an hour just to fill the dead air. That was totally a thing. Okay, so where should you put most of your energy and what part of your life? So I'm going to do a slightly different layout for you because you've got two questions going there. Where should you put most of your energy and where? Okay. So where should you put most of your energy? We have the Nine of Cups and the King of Pentacles. So you should put your energy where it makes you the most happy. It gives you the most in return. And hold on. Why is this doing this? Oh, continue. Okay, I don't know what's going on. My phone's being weird. Okay, so you should put your energy where it brings you the most joy. Okay, so where you should put most of your energy is where it brings you the most joy and it's going to give you the most financial stability. Where is that in your life? We've got the Ten of Cups and the Three of Cups. So in a nutshell, follow your heart. Okay? So this is a celebration and a party. This is celebration after a lot of hard work is what's going on here. So they're celebrating after a lot of really hard work, and the Ten of Cups is happiness and completion. So end of a cycle. So let's keep pulling a little bit, because the Hanged Man was your jumper. So the Hanged Man is about knowledge through self-sacrifice. This is about, you know, really putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation, getting outside of your comfort zone so that you can get a new, clear, and different perspective. That is what the Hanged Man is about. So this was the jumper card. This was the card that jumped out while I was shuffling. So to get that clear message of where you should go, you need to get outside of where you are comfortable. You need to get outside of what you're familiar with. And it's something that's going to bring you joy. So something that, So something that you really enjoy doing and really helps you grow, but not something you would normally expect. Okay. And you know what this is. Because, I mean, girl, I got all cups. All cups. So this was, what should you do with your energy and what part of your life? And essentially the answer was the same. The answer was, you know, bring it where it's going to give you the most happiness and the most financial stability. And then the second answer was, what part of your life? The part that makes you the happiest. And I know that sounds like a trite answer. Right. Ready to drink up. So I'm going to pull one more card. All right, this gives a little bit more clarity. All right, so I pulled a card on where this is in your life. Bam! This is what I was waiting for. So this is the Eight of Swords. And this is get out of your own way. You know what you need to do. You know what you need to do. And you just have to get out of your own way. Because in this image, yeah, she is bound. She is blind. She can't see. And she is surrounded by dangerous things. However, the path before her is clear. And all she has to do is walk forward. And if you can look really closely, there's water right there at her feet. And her feet are bare. So all she has to do is step forward and keep her feet wet and follow that path of water, and she'll be clear of those swords. But that's relying on different senses. That is relying on a sense that she is not comfortable with. That is relying on, she can't use her hands and she can't use her sight. So she has to use something she is not familiar with and have faith that it's going to lead her in the right direction. Okay? And it will. It will. It's going to be scary, but it's more scary than hard. It's more scary than hard, okay? So it's what you have to fight with is yourself more than anything else, which, yeah, that's hard, but it's more about conquering that fear than the actual work. Because once you start on the path, it's just going to flow like this water. Once she starts moving forward, once she takes that step of faith and just keeps her feet in the water and keeps her feet wet, and, you know, like all she's got to do is pat her feet around and just keep moving forward and follow that water, and she's out of that trap, right? So conquering that fear, take the first baby step. And I think this card is perfect for this because it's baby steps. She's taking little bitty baby steps. One little bitty baby step at a time. One little step of faith at a time. and checking along the way, checking to make sure everything is right, not rushing forward. No, that's not how this goes. This is not running blindly forward off the cliff. That's the fool. This is one little baby step at a time, and you will get there. This is a turtle wins the race situation. Okay? And that sounds like that's connecting too. So, I pretty much have a guarantee. I don't really advertise it because I don't need to, but I've never had a reading not hit. And when I had one situation, I was reading at a party and it didn't hit right away, and then I just shuffled and reread, and then they were in tears after that. So I've noticed that if it doesn't hit, the person's either blocking their reading and they're not quite ready for that message. But it's like usually I can still kind of get through a little bit, enough to get them on the journey. So, all right. Well, thank you guys very much for tuning in for Tarot Tuesday. I appreciate it very much. If you're interested in in-depth readings, again, I am doing video readings, Wednesday through Saturday from 2 to 7 p.m. And they are $25 for video readings. Once this is all safe and in the clear, I do in-person readings. Those are $50 for an in-person reading. Because if I have to leave the house and put on pants, you damn right I'm charging you double. It's true. But honestly, it's because I'm going to do an in-person reading. I have to meet you at a cafe, and then I don't want to be at a place of business and not support that place of business. So that's why it's more expensive. All right. But yeah, so thank you very much. I will see you next Tuesday for Tarot Tuesday, or if you are watching me live read, I am doing bedtime stories at 10 p.m. on Sundays. We are reading Dark Angel by Lee Savage, who is a local St. Louis author. It is romance erotica, although it hasn't quite gotten too erotic just yet. So, and that is at 10 p.m. on Sundays. Thank you very much. I love you guys. And I will see you either Sunday or Tuesday. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.